All right. G man.
Hey,
What's
good
going
morning,
on,
Coach
sir?
Jay.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, bud.
Good, man.
Staying
Good.
well.
That's good. Good, good, good. So, in today's episode, I don't know. I don't even know what to
Installment
say, man. Today's installment, whatever. But this is
today.
morning break. Yeah, this is morning break. I'm Coach Jay, and this is the.
Gee, man.
By the way, we had a whole conversation that on one of our podcasts about, are you a G man? Are you the G man? Right?
I'm just a G man right now, not
Yeah,
the
right.
G man.
Yeah, you're all right, G man. Welcome back. Another exciting and I guess tense day of communication that I had. I want to thank everybody who reached out to me and gave me some feedback, gave us some feedback, and let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want to hear about. As a matter of fact, today's subject was last minute. I got a call yesterday from a service manager that we know and said, "Hey, Coach Jay, do you know of any stores that have a protocol set for those that close down their stores because of an infection? And also, do you know anybody that has to be reopened?" And I said, "Man, this
Mhm.
is crazy. Ironically, I do have a couple of stores that had to close down because of a confirmed case." So I reached out to those individuals and I got some feedback and I started talking about it. And this is what I've gathered. So for those of you who are new here, this is Morning Break. And what today's message is going to be about really preparedness and what these leaders have done on the fly to close their affected departments and then reopening them once it's considered safe. So we're going to share a lot of that today. Today, we're sharing what we've learned about the best practices being put in place by the most successful leaders in our business. So, again, don't forget to like this page and turn on notifications to get the latest and greatest trip tips to improve your operations. So first things first, I interviewed this individual yesterday, and he was very open. He was very open about it. I said, so what happened? And this was 14 days ago, G man. And I said, okay, so walk me through what the scenario.
That's 14 days ago that they closed.
14 days ago that they closed, and I'll tell you what,
Wow.
today is their reopening day.
Seems like just yesterday.
I know, crazy. So I said, "Walk me through this." And he says, "Okay, well, this is what happened. I got notified by the HR department and by really the HR department and told me we've just gotten a notification that one of the employees who's been out sick now for 7 days has just confirmed positive for COVID-19. That person has been away from the department or from the store for 7 days now, and they just contacted us and confirmed they are COVID positive, and they are recuperating or they're dealing with it. Good news. I talked to the manager. Good news is that that one individual that was affected in the store has now had a full recovery,
Mhm.
100%. They did go to the hospital. They were, but they're fully recovered and they are on the other side of it, right? Which is great news. So I said to him, I said, okay, so what did you have to do and what was the protocol? I said, this is what we had to do. We gathered all the leadership team. We talked about it. We were in a room. He goes, one of the things that surprised the heck out of me is that once you get that information, it's all of a sudden right before that, you said, "Oh, we have to prepare, we have to have prevention, or we should have follow the rules of the 6 foot rule." It's one of those things is one day, once they found out it was one of their own, boom, everybody switched. Everybody went into the immediate protocol. Everybody stay away from me. Everybody stay away from
Mhm.
everybody else. Everybody do this. Are we cleaning? Are we doing this? It's like all of a sudden you see that you got an attack at home and then you started doing it. Even though they were doing it beforehand. I mean, they really did. They were doing the thing, but now it's like it got real.
Yeah. Yeah,
Does
it's
that make
different
sense?
now, right?
It's
Yeah.
different.
It's like my talking to my brother-in-law yesterday and finding out that he got tested positive and he's going through it. It really it kind of hits home, It's like, okay, all right, this is in my backyard now, right? It's not something
Yeah.
not just stay away from people, wash your hands, sanitize, like, just kind of waiting for nothing to happen. All of a sudden, boom, it's on your shores.
Boom, exactly. So I said, "Okay, so what happened next?" He goes, "Well, the next thing I had to do is we then ordered meetings we told every part of the store, the different departments, the service
Mhm.
drive, gathered all the advisors, make sure they were separated, say, we're going to talk in 15 minutes, be prepared. Then they started creating awareness, in their environment, looked at the waiting rooms, looked at, who was currently there. And they created this initiative. And the first initiative was let's communicate and bring everybody up to speed everywhere. That happened immediately. Just
Mhm.
every manager, go get your teams, separate them, and just tell them what happened. Okay. Let them know that, hey, this is what the next move is going to be. We are going to close. Okay. The next step is we will be closed for 14 days.
Mm.
Now we need to prepare for that. What does that mean? For the service advisors, it was go contact your customers, right? Make sure that they know what's happening, what we're going to do for them, look at the obstacles. Everybody has their workflow and find out what that is. We're going to go talk to the technicians. Every technician is going to be aware of what's happening. Then the parts department, then the sales department, every department was spoken to and given initiatives to be able to contact the customer first. Then he
Mhm.
went to his call center, and once he got into his call center, he told the call center, "I want you to look at all appointments that have been, that are put in queue for the next 14 days, call those people. For the rest of the day, you're gonna call those people. Any incoming calls, you're gonna let them know what's gonna happen, and then he split the team. One team goes and makes all the outbound calls, the other team took all the inbound calls of telling people what was going on."
So did they cancel all those appointments or did they reschedule
Yeah.
them?
They
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 can
canceled them and then rescheduled them for later. They knew that they would be back in 14 days. So
Okay.
they rescheduled them later.
Because that's the hard
But
part. If you're a customer, you're coming in
yeah,
to get your car service, now all of a sudden, I'm actually, you're open and I got time. I wanna get this done. Now all of a sudden you're canceling my appointment on me.
right.
It's gonna be hard because you might lose some customers over that.
I would have the same fear, but I would think that in these moments and times, there's so much empathy that's being shown throughout the nation that I think people are becoming a little more understanding of things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
It's
think if you give them a window and you say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna be back, and, we're not leaving entirely. We just have to shut down and for this amount of time," and we think it's I think also too, if you take that stance that this is the right thing to do to protect the
Mhm,
public,
mhm,
it's not gonna be easy for us, and I know and I apologize, not easy for you, but this is the right thing to do, and then
mhm.
from there, you might be able to garner a little favor from the customer, you know?
Right. I totally agree with that too. Um, so once they communicated it, and I asked, I said, "Were you honest? Did you say we're going to close as of?" And he goes, "No, we told everybody that this was a confirmed case. We had the person had not been in the store for 7 days. We then wanted to make sure and bring awareness, and then they released like a news press, like they told people, hey, this is what happened. Please be
Mm,
safe. We're taking in these measures. We're doing everything necessary to be respectful of telling our community, hey, this happened, and these are the things that we're going to do to take care of that." So at the end of the day, they closed shop. They put everything in place. Everything was communicated to. All everything was put in its order. And then I said, "Okay, so what'd you do next?" And he says, "Okay, well, then the managers came in and they got together and they said, okay, what are things that we need to do to create the shutdown?" Right?
mhm,
And so he had to think, okay, what do I have to be responsible? First, he says, I need to call all my vendors. I have to call my manufacturer's rep. I need to bring that to the forefront of awareness to them and let them know we're going to be closed. Then he said, then I had to take into consideration all the automation we have in place for operations of our business. And I said, oh, well, elaborate on that. He goes, well, think about it. I have reports, job stacks that get run every single day. I need to stop
mhm,
that. I
mhm.
have things that are, reports and systems or whatnot that are all automated on time clocks to ensure that these things happen. And I had to shut those things down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that would
Which,
be true, in the parts department too. Just thinking as you're telling me this, like I'm thinking about back orders that could be,
Mhm,
released and in transit. You've got long haul shipping stuff that's coming from, the warehouses that are maybe, especially in California, you're ordering stuff from the East Coast or East Coast getting stuff from the
mhm,
West Coast. That kind of stuff where if you've got to shut down, there's stuff that's on the truck kind of already making its way to you. So you got to get a hold of the manufacturer and stop that. If you've got any kind of automated stock order system, with the REM system and
Mhm.
ARO and SBA, all the other ones, you gotta turn all those off because they're gonna automatic. They don't know that you're closed. It's almost we might
Mhm.
assume, like, as you're talking, I hadn't thought about it until this moment, but, they're not gonna know that we're gonna be closed. Parts are gonna land on the dock whether you like it or not. So,
And how
man,
would you do? I mean, how what would you do? By the way, before, hey guys, I think this is critically important information. So if you're on here right now, turn on your watch party and share this with people so they know that what you're listening to could definitely be important to them, especially in this business. Because I tell you right now, man, this stuff is really, really, really important to people. And it wasn't just one person or two people that told me that they'd want to hear about this. It was a big group of people.
yeah,
So
and
if
this
there's
is I
anybody
mean,
on
that
here, share it.
we were just kinda talking about things coming close to home and hitting your shores, and, you know, this isn't the first dealer that we've heard that's closed as a result
Mhm,
of, a positive test of some sort. So that, to me, you might think, well, it's not going to happen to me. It's not going to happen to me. And this is kind of what I thought about myself and my family. And then all of a sudden, a member of my family gets it. And now I'm like, wow, it's like it really does hit home. So Jair's dead on, or Coach Jay, sorry. He's dead on. You want to make sure. I want to use your handle. You want to make sure that you're thinking about this strategically. Plan for the worst and continue as if it's not going to happen. But you still have to have a plan in place. And this thing about the parts is a huge issue because you want to know who to call. I can tell you, I've been in a lot of parts departments where if we get a shortage or a broken part or we're having an issue with something that we want to return, and I talk to the manager and I say, hey, who do we call to get some help with this? And they don't know. They don't have a relationship built up with the local, distribution center. They don't know their representation. A lot of those reps that come out from the manufacturer spend their time in service, not in parts. So know who to call. Like if you got to stop a delivery, if you got to stop a trucking route, know who to call, where those parts are coming from. Know have your back order list up and running, and understand what's coming from where. You want to keep track of where your orders are in process, because if that does happen in tomorrow, all of a sudden you got to shut down. You're gonna have to scramble pretty fast, and calling customers and appointments and all that is one part of it, but also you've got these parts that are coming at you. You want to stop that flow.
Yeah, so what I wanna provide for everybody after we're done with this, and, I'll work on it today, and G-Man, if you can help me, is maybe create a checklist we
Yeah.
can put on here where what were the things that would be essential for both a service manager and a parts manager, to do? I mean, let's talk about body shop, right? Our body shop brothers,
Mhm.
and sisters. I mean, what should they be doing if this would go into play, right? You'd have to call the insurance companies, you'd have to call, of course, the customers, you'd have to
Mhm.
again, the supply chain of parts that are probably in transit and have that ready for them. Now, speaking of which, since there's some similarities in regards to the parts departments in a body shop and the parts department in at the store, what would you do, G man? I mean, would it be that you would give somebody access to your, uh, um, you know, I don't know, your loading dock? I mean, how would people deliver parts if they were already on their way? The parts managers
Well, I
have to
think
show up there and let them in.
yeah, I think the first thing you'd have to know is what's coming and when. You'd have to have a good relationship with your depot, your distribution center, and get a line of communication open so you know what's going to drop, because you might have to show up down there and make sure the place is unlocked for them to deliver. A lot of places will have so uh, at the one of the stores I was just recently at, we got deliveries at 3 in the morning.
Mhm.
So they had a key. They could go in, they could dump the parts inside a locked area. The area was secure, and then they would shut it down. So, I would sanitize that zone, make sure that everything's
Mm,
clean, because the guy's going to be wandering around in there. If you've had a positive in there, that's a dangerous situation for him. I wouldn't want to put him or her in that. So you want to sanitize, but if you have a zone like that, you're probably in pretty good shape and they can deliver and drop things off. but your FedEx deliveries, your UPS deliveries, stuff that's coming, special handling, VIN specific orders, things like that, they're going to come through the main channels, and those guys don't have access to that. They don't have access to the inside of the building. So in that case, you're gonna have to find out when that stuff's coming and track it down, look at the tracking information, and somebody's gonna have to be there to accept it, or you're gonna have parts just sitting out in the parking lot. um yeah, and if your manufacturer delivers during in the afternoon or after you open, and he doesn't have access to the building, you definitely want to find out when those deliveries are coming, because you could have a lot of money sitting out there. So you want to get in front of that, and vendors, wholesale accounts, like you were talking about with body shops. You're going to want to have those lines of communication so they know that you're going away, but you're coming back. So if you've got a big body shop order, let's say, and you're going to shut down, that guy wants to stay open. I might come down and actually accept that delivery, throw it on the truck myself, and drive it over there because, I don't want to have those parts sitting around after this thing's all over. So you're going to have to get together with your ownership and figure that out. If you're running a body shop, fortunately, your supply chain typically is going to be a local dealer or local parts supplier, so it should be easy to stop the flow of parts. Paint manufacturers, that's going to be a relatively easy one. The biggest thing is really letting insurance companies know that your cycle time is going to go up, because you're not going to be
Mm,
working on those cars. And if you're a body shop manager out there, cycle time's a big deal and can affect your relationship with the insurance company. I know right now, I'm sure they're going to give you a pass, but you definitely want to have that conversation before, not after it's all
right.
over. So set it up ahead of time, and let them know what's going on. Be honest with them, and then that way they can plan and prepare as well.
Yeah, so I agree with you. If you're going to look at your business, look at parts of the business where you'd have to make an exception like this, right? And I would go attack those places first, sanitize those particular places first,
Mhm.
right? I know that this particular manager shared with me his experience. They took into effect immediately where they were going to sanitize all the places that they would go into. Now they made a decision right off the bat. We're going to be closed for at least 7 days first because according to the protocols of the CDC, um, the COVID virus cannot stay alive on surfaces for more than 3 or 4 days. Okay, don't quote me on that. Please go to cdc.gov to
Are
get that
you a
information.
doctor?
I'm not a doctor. I'm just saying that the information is out there. But so what they did is they closed shop, closed everything down, and then they went in with a disinfectant crew, like literally like a hazmat team went into the store and they did every part of that store up and down, um, to get it back to be prepared for a reopen. Now, go ahead.
Yeah, that's the scary thing, because I don't know, me, I have a hard time staying away. I'd probably be down there
Yeah,
running
that was him.
reports and, working on things, but you shouldn't be in. It's almost like getting tented for termites, You shouldn't be in there at
Mhm.
all, really.
Yeah, but he was going. He was going. The general manager was there. The owner was there. The upper manage. Sometimes they can't stay away, which is okay and it's normal.
Mhm.
But in these times, you got to be a little more cautious because of what you'd be affecting. People, right?
Yeah.
So so with that said, G man, now he's open for the first day. Now we're going into reopen. What did he prepare for reopen? Well, he didn't go and do a marketing tactic, right? He didn't get online. He didn't tell everybody. What he did is he created a small group of people. He got 2 advisors. Now normally he has 10. He started with 2 advisors today, 2 loop technicians, 2 master technicians, a parts person, himself, his service manager. Um, and some people to man the phones, and it was very small. Now, right now, what they're doing is, because today is day one of reopen, is making sure that, and he was preparing for the past 2 days. Today's Wednesday. Monday and Tuesday, what they were doing is he had a prepared team come in, Make sure that there are markings, make sure that there's signage, make sure that everything is within the guidelines of all the recommendations of running a business. Things that we talked about in our webcast last week, where we talked about grocery stores and different department and different businesses that are doing above and beyond things to make the public feel safe. They went and did that. Now, they had done it before to an extent, but now literally there's 4 doors that would open. One door is for entry, is an entry point, and
Mhm,
one door is for the exit point.
mhm.
Making sure that, when people come in and drive in, they are way beyond 6 feet from any of the service advisors and their like desks, right? And making sure that the line of communication and the awareness is very obvious. So I'm in communication with that manager today. I will talk to them tomorrow as well. But they've put initiatives in place to be prepared for this reopen. And today, day one is emergencies only. We're only going to take care
Mhm.
of emergencies.
Right.
We're going to call people that may have left a message. We're going to call people that may have had concern. We're going to call the people that are in our we have cars in our possession. Let them know that maybe we're going to finish a couple of the jobs that they didn't have, or let them know where the part supplies are, things like that.
Yeah, I think if you have a couple of days notice that you know you're gonna come back, do you know if he had advance notice?
Yeah, yeah. Over the weekend, they knew that they were wanting. They had made a conscious decision. Say, okay, it's been 14 days. It's coming. How do we prepare for this? How do we
So
make
they were
sure that
saying Wednesday we're gonna open. Wednesday we're
Wednesday
gonna
we're
open
gonna
back up.
open. Now it's a soft open, right? He's hoping that by Monday they can ramp up production, not to a normal level, right? I
Mhm.
think what they've done is they followed the guidelines we talked about yesterday, where they do a split shift, team A and team B. So I think they're going back
Okay,
to the
yeah.
team A and team B way of running their business.
Right.
Uh, but I spoke to the other manager of that department too, and he was like, "Well, I don't know how I can get back up to 150 cars a day, right?" And I said, "Well, let's work through that. How would you?" And it's just like anything else, right? It's like you open the throttle slowly, and then you see where you can, and just keep. It's like testing, bringing awareness, and then pivoting, right?
Yeah.
That's not going to work. This is going to work. What things do you think, G man, would be a good way of stepping into the parts of it to open fully?
Well, that's what I was saying. I think if you have advance notice, that would be the ideal scenario because then you can restart some of those things that we talked about shutting down. So,
Mhm.
you're going to reach out to all those vendors. You're going to reach out, to your part suppliers. You're going to let them know that you're going to be back in business on this day and you can accept deliveries, possibly even if you can the day before. At least that way you've got a good order there to, to kind of get started, start ramping things up and then hitting the phones. I mean, I'd
Mhm.
be hitting the phones 2 days before we're gonna go back and start setting appointments. "Hey, look, we know we had to cancel your appointment or delay your appointment. Looks like we're gonna be open on this date. We'd like to schedule you in, see how many people you can get in." But I would think with all the backed up, because you're gonna have demand that's gonna kind of get all pent up right there. That demand's not gonna go away unless they go get their car fixed somewhere else. And hopefully, we've done a good enough job with communication on the front end, to prevent that. But that would be the idea is that you want to kind of uncork that. So I would feel like you would have a really big surge of appointments because you'd have special order parts that are
Mhm.
all now ready to be delivered. You're going to have, you got all these people that have waited. You got everybody that was going to make appointments for those 2 weeks. Now it's all backed up. So you have this whole kind of ball of demand that you can unlock. And I would feel like that first week would be pretty chaotic and super busy. And so I would be very, very aware of how you're gonna plan that out. Because what you don't wanna do is you don't wanna have this big ball of demand just roll over your whole store and knock all your systems down. You're not gonna be ready,
Mhm.
especially if you're splitting the crews like that. You're splitting your team into 2 and you don't have a full staff. So, just be prepared that once you uncork it, I feel like he's worried about like, oh, may never come back, or how do I get back up to 150 cars? I get the feeling he may have the other problem. How do I hold them back once they hear that we're open?
Mm.
How do I keep them from coming? Honestly.
Yeah, because we keep hearing from our friends in California how they're going through waves. I
Hmm.
mean, now it's like busy, busy. We're still busy. We're getting busier. Holy cow, there's more busyness, and people are saying
Imagine if they
online,
shut
man.
down. So that dealer we were talking to in California, they really only they did they just kind of scaled back a little bit, and their appointments dipped, and then they came back, right? They came back to
Mhm,
almost 80%. So imagine had they shut down for 2 weeks.
mhm.
You got 80 appointments every single day that they've had over the past couple of weeks. All those people are going to be backed up against the dam waiting to come in. So,
Right.
you got to think about that. Like, I know a lot of people want to go to the glass half empty and say, "Oh, this thing, it's going to ruin the economy and it'll never be the same." But the truth is, all this stuff still needs to get done. The same things that needed to get done, a month, 2 months ago, still need to get done. So these customers are now going to be backed up. But what I would be looking more at is how the heck are we going to handle the volume once we uncork it?
Yeah,
That's really going
yeah.
to be what it is, right?
Right. Right, and I'll tell you what you need to do, and my tip of this whole conversation is this, is hopefully this never happens again, ever, but have a plan, have a game plan. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you right now that these businesses had to shut down and it was chaos, and these managers and these leaders that had to take on this task and go, "Look, this is happening if we like it or not, and we gotta do it." Start, put an initiative in place. Be ahead of this. You see what I'm saying? Because I tell you what, man, we've been to so many stores. Gary, you know this, or G Man. We have been in stores where we're there coaching, and the power goes out.
Hmm.
The power goes out and everybody goes crazy.
I
How am
love
I
it when
supposed
that
to write up a ticket? How am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to do that? Holy cow! And I'm like, guys, relax, relax. Okay, your printer's worked. You have repair. If you need to write up a repair order, guess what? I'll never forget, man. I'll never forget. I'm at a store in. I'm not even gonna say where I was at. I'm at a store. People panic and they get upset. Right?
Mhm.
Power's gone. I literally walked to the printer, pulled out the drawer of the printer, grabbed a piece of paper, which it was, they had Reynolds and Reynolds, and it was a pre-printed thing, pulled it out, and I said, "This is your template. Write down the VIN, write down the customer's information, have them sign it, do it the old-fashioned way, and make that happen." "Oh, well, I've never done this before. This how it's gonna work?" "Well, we have electronic dispatch." "You don't have electronic anything right now."
I I think it's hilarious when the power goes out because you're right. Everybody's like, "What do we do? What do we do?" And it's
Yeah.
like I remember when I started in this business, back in the '80s. We were writing. Everything was handwritten at the time, and
Yeah.
I see a couple of parts managers on right now, and I know these guys remember when they used to have to write the part number down. So they write the part number really small down in the box and the quantity, and then you'd come back as a tech, you'd bring the part back, and they'd have to scratch it off, and they'd have to write it down again. They'd be all pissed off. You'd see this like 10 part number scratched off. It was so, but we did it. You ran your business, and we didn't have power, and we didn't have computers, and we didn't have all the stuff that we have today. And being in that, living through that, and I talk about like a lot of the stuff that I've been through in my career, and a lot about the 2008 2009 recession that we went through, where the real estate bubble popped. And those things prepare you for things like this,
Mhm.
because if you haven't gone through those, you don't have a template, you don't have a script to run in your head. So when you go, your brain's looking for the answer and it's going through your Rolodex. It doesn't have that card to pull out. So having gone through those things, having gone through the adversity, having had to, living in an era where we didn't have computers and we hand wrote everything, it kind of gives you a sense of calm. So, if you're a senior employee or senior leader, if you've been in this business a long time and you're around a lot of these young people, you got to remember that they don't have any idea. Like, they've
Yeah,
never been through any of this stuff.
that's right.
I see Greg's on right now, and Greg and I, we've been through some pretty rough days, and some days when you weren't sure that you weren't sure the business was going to come around. You had 9/11 in there. I mean, there was so many things that affected our industry negatively. I don't know if anybody remembers Cash for Clunkers when we're trying to get out
Oh
of.
my gosh, yeah, I
I
remember
mean, just
that.
think about all those things, and having those experiences help us, but we need to help the people that don't have those experiences. So when we get into situations like this, I think sometimes we forget, because our brain just switches on. We go through the Rolodex, we pull out the card. Oh, this is what we do. This is how we act.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
then we're like, well, what are you doing, dummy? Why don't you act like that? And
Yeah,
we say, oh,
yeah.
these millennials, they don't know what they're doing. but they don't have the life experience that we have. And so, if you're out there and you're hearing me, take that experience and use that to help some of these younger guys. If you see them scrambling, if they're freaking out, calm them down. Like, this business will come back. This too shall pass. We will be back in business. It may never be the same, but who cares? Maybe it'll be better. And the idea is that if you just stay in it long enough, somebody told me this a long time ago, things can be so good or so bad for so long before they change. And
Mhm.
so the good times never last, and neither do the bad. And
Yeah.
and it's going to change. So you just got to ride out the storm and hang in there. And I think that, to me, the hardest part when we're talking about close to reopen is getting your people to go from the sky is falling and the world's going to end to, okay, we're back to business. That's got to be
Yeah.
the hardest part of the whole thing. Like I said, I think the demand is there. The people are going to come. That's just kind of a reoccurring thing that's going to happen. But I think it really is more about us. The more I think about it, it really is about us and how we react to it. And if you're a leader, you got to get them prepared for that, and
Mhm.
help them to get that script. Use your experience so they have that script in their head, so that they don't panic, or they don't just lose all motivation.
Right. I'll tell you what, G man, uh, I would be excited. I would be excited about this time. And I'm gonna tell you why. Is because you have a choice right now. You have a choice right this second. Is either you're gonna become Sears when they find out that there's the internet or Amazon, right? Or I'm being serious, or you're going to do something different to adjust to the time. Because I tell you what, if you're on here right now and you think that this business has not just changed forever, you're sadly mistaken. Now, business will come back. But you're going to put initiatives in place in order to create awareness, and you're going to be prepared for anything that would happen in the future. And that's what we're trying to tell you
Mhm.
is write this stuff down and create the protocols now. So for any moment in time, you just like you said, G man, you go to that Rolodex and you pull it right out and you say, I know what to do here. I know
Yeah.
what we should be doing here, right? And then
Mhm.
prepare for the reinvention. Damon Egan said it right there. It's time for the reboot. Not only
Yeah.
the
No, I
reboot,
agree.
not only are you going to do a reboot, this is your time to say, okay, how are we going to add to this thing? What are we going to do different?
Yeah, and I think, and I don't wanna I hate the silver lining thing, and I always mock it whenever it comes up, but,
You do, man.
uh, I do.
You
But it's the
do.
truth. It is the truth that, there was I need to get my books so that I know my quotes, but, it was a book I was reading a long time ago, and they were telling a story about a guy comes into the sales manager's office and he says, "Oh my God, I can't believe it. Our sales are down 300%, and where the sky's falling and everything's going." And the sales manager looks at him and goes, "Well, that's great news." The guy's, "Well, how can you say that that's great news? This is horrible news. What are you talking about?" And he goes, "Well, I've been in this business a long time, and I know that whenever we've had a sales dip that's been this significant, we come out of it even bigger, and that the
Mhm.
sales grow even stronger. And so
Mhm.
all I know is I need to get through this and wait for that to come and be ready for that and look for that." And I think this is a very similar thing. While this is a tragedy, and I would never wish for this to happen. But at the end of the day, I mean, Greg Chittum, thank you for being on, Greg. But Greg, a couple of um, lives ago, a couple of Facebook lives ago, he said, you have to be an opportunist. And that may sound like kind of a rough word when people are, getting sick, and my brother's in the hospital and all this stuff's going, my brother-in-law. But the truth of the matter is if you're a business person, that's how you have to think. You have to understand that where there is adversity, there is opportunity. And
Mhm.
this too will have opportunity somewhere covered in it. We're not sure what that looks like yet. But where what I'm seeing right now and what we're seeing and talking to this manager who's reopening is, I think the opportunity is being prepared, being
Mhm.
is understanding, not being fearful of what's going to come next, but being prepared for what's going to come next. Because again, when we uncork this pent up demand, it is going to overwhelm us if we're not ready. If we're coming back and we're just going, I don't know, guys, we might have to sell the store. Or if we're like, nope, like the people are going to come, they need a place to go, and that demand was there before, it's going to be there again. So I hate to beat a dead horse, but I just think that that's the way to look at things. And going from close to reopen is That's probably the main thing, prepping them as if you have to wind down, not just, obviously, your logistics of your operation you want to be worried about, but your people and their brains,
Mhm.
getting their brains wind down and wound back up. I mean, my son's here right now. I'm sorry, I'm dominating this, but
No, no, do it,
I
talk. It's good. It's good. It's good
last
stuff.
point. My son's here right now. So my son lives in Los Angeles. I moved to Kansas City. He was working for a dealership out there. He's doing really well. He's making good money, and wanted to stay in LA, so he stayed in LA. He's got his own apartment out there and everything. So he's kind of becoming his own man. Well, they shut the dealer down and went down to like two people, and from there, like 8 advisors down to 2 advisors, and they laid a whole bunch of people off, including technicians, which shocked me. But they laid them
Mm.
off, and the critical
Does he
part of
does he
this
have the
is
does he have the does he have, like, their contact information? Because I know there's people we can recruit some technicians, man. There's people out here going, "Whew,
I don't want
I'll
to.
take
I don't
them."
want to. I feel bad for them. I don't want to sell them out, but I'm telling you, there's some guys out in the open right now. You might want to go get.
Oh boy,
Um,
I am happy to be the broker for that. I will get you. Yeah, I'm telling you, technicians, advisors, you're needed. Come see us.
so I was talking to him yesterday, and he's been helping me around the office here, and he was telling me he's going to look for another job, and I want what? Why are you going to look for another job? And he goes, well, I don't think I'm ever going to go back there. I said, why not? He goes, I just don't think they'll ever come back. I don't think he doesn't think they have the mentality that this will come back and that they will need him again. And his feeling is that they're gonna do exactly what I'm saying not to do, which is they're gonna believe the sky has fallen and the world has changed and they'll never be the same again, instead of understanding that that demand is there and they need to be prepared for that demand. So
Mm,
so this is what everybody's thinking. People are out there that are getting laid off or furloughed that are looking for other jobs. And if I was a
wow.
manager right now and I was sitting in a dealership, I would be looking for them, because as Damon said, it's a time to reboot your team. And if you got guys on there you're not happy with, I think there's guys out there in the open market right now that you could go out there and go get. So think about that too. If you're starting to come back in, how do you come back with the A list of players? How do you take advantage of people who aren't thinking about being prepared, and use that to your advantage, a competitive advantage, and really succeed past them once this is all over?
Well, I'll tell you
um
what, I think that should be tomorrow's topic. I think that we're gonna
kind of
seriously, we're gonna
just got
talk
you on
about that
a tangent.
tomorrow.
I'm on a tangent.
No, 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 but that's a good one because that's what I wanted to talk about. There are so many. I mean, I hear from throughout the country. So many advisors are talking. So many, and they're getting let go. They're getting furloughed. They're panicking. And the thing is like, holy cow, this is great information to have because there's talent out there. And
Hmm.
what I want to talk about tomorrow, which I'm committing myself to it now. Tomorrow, I want to talk about what do you do in these times, not only as the manager of having to cut your team, but also recruitment of talent out there. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I'll tell you what, man, when the opportunity comes your way, you got to attack it. I'll never forget it. And Damon, I know that you're listening to this right now, and because I'm gonna talk about you, I'll never forget when Damon called me going, Coach Jay, I have a problem. I have 2 diesel techs that want to come work for me and I have no room. I don't know what to do. Like, what do you mean you don't know what to do? You hire them. You find the room. I don't care what you do. Go build the building right now. You need 2 diesel techs. Get them.
I'll buy your racks.
I'm like, holy cow. And he goes, and he told me, before he said, man, that was the best move I made. I mean, when you have talent falling in your lap, you
Yeah.
got to take it. You got to take it. So we'll talk about
Yeah,
that tomorrow because,
if you got a Barry Bonds that wants to be on your team right now, you got to grab. I don't know why I use Barry Bonds, but
oh man.
if you got
Okay.
a Patrick Mahomes that wants to be on your team right now, you take him.
You take them.
You
You
wouldn't
take
say
them.
no.
You
Sorry.
take them.
You find a way. You'd figure it out. I'd
You
write a
take them.
contract for the guy. But yeah, I mean that's. I think it's close to reopen. To go back to what our central topic is, I believe there is a lot of logistical concerns, but I think it's a people problem more than it is going to be a logistics problem.
I
Personally,
agree. Well, I'm gonna leave
Damon,
with this.
47 techs and counting.
Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
47 techs. Nice job, Damon.
Yeah,
Nice job.
he's doing a good job. I mean, you got it up to what, 75 techs? when we had that BMW store from like what was it, 19 to 75 techs?
We
We built the
started
empire, bro.
Yeah, we started in 2000 with 12 and we grew it to 7. We ended up at 75.
75 technicians. It was crazy.
Mhm.
Fun times. Okay. Well, that's all I have. I would say this in leaving is is this is I'm going to share the number one fear of the manager who's reopened today. And that's what he said this to me. He said this. He goes, "You know what my fuel is? My fuel is my fear of having to close again. So I'm
Ugh,
going to do whatever it takes to avoid that. Whatever it takes." And I'm telling you, man, that's the right mindset.
yeah.
He's in the growth mentality of I'm opening my business and we're reopening for business to never shut this down again.
Dane, sounds like a challenge. If you're in Canada, you don't have to worry about it. They don't have
Yeah, I
corona up
know.
there.
They don't have anything like that. Anyway, G-Man, thank you so much for your time. We went a little bit over today, but I thought it was good. And I appreciate your input.
Yeah,
Tomorrow we'll talk more. G-Man, day one, you're dropping your bomb of parts knowledge today. Is
got
that
my
right?
I shot 5 tips last night,
Woo!
so I got my
I
first
have some.
5 in the can ready to go, so I'm ahead of you guys. I'm gonna do one every day for the month of April, 30 tips. Um, even on Saturday and Sunday, I will not rest. If you
Holy
got
cow.
something out there you might want me to cover, I'm happy to do that. My first just know that the first probably 8 to 10 are gonna be, basic, and then I'm gonna move towards more advanced. So I kinda started with, like, baseline, foundational, and started working my way up towards more advanced things. So,
Okay.
uh, try to keep them 5 to 10 minutes. Some I went a little over on because, I like to talk, but, I think it's good stuff, and, I'd love to get some feedback. I'll put a couple up. Give me some feedback. Let me know. If you like it, share it. Like the page, share the page. YouTube is coming soon. I'm
Mhm,
gonna post these videos actually that I'm posting on tips are gonna also post on YouTube, so you can use that.
mhm.
And, I know Jair's working on he's gonna do 15 advisor tips.
Yeah, I am gonna do 15 advisor tips, and I'm gonna help you and also some service manager tips too. So, we're gonna help everybody out as best as we can to make this thing happen. But I wanna thank everybody for coming on here. Be prepared. We'll be posting more. I've been posting some stuff that I've been learning online. I put a post on our page too about the new initiative about grocery shopping, and I think it falls in line with doing business with the public too, because we're a service center, and so you might want to look into that as well. I think it's some good
Yeah.
stuff. Okay, G-Man, we will see you tomorrow again
Okay.
at 11 a.m. We will be talking about what to do with talent once they've been let go, as well as what do you do when you have to let some people go, which is what's trending right now, unfortunately. But we have to figure that. We'll
Yeah,
talk
that's
about
a
some
good
more.
one. What's that conversation look like?
Ooh,
No, I like
it's
that
tough.
one.
It's tough. And what metrics you should do. This is not the time to go about feelings, but really focusing on your facts. And if you gotta let some people go, you want to retain the best you can. Because I'll tell you right now, I would be out there. Damon Egan's going to be out there. Doug Settle's going to be out there. Kevin's going to be out there. These managers are going to be out there, and they're going to go attract and recruit these
And this
people you
is a
want to let
test of
go.
your mettle too, because you're gonna have to make some hard calls, I think. And
Really hard calls.
this is the job. This is what we get paid for. So if
That's
we're a
right.
manager, leader of an organization, we got to make these tough decisions.
That's right. G-Man, thank you again,
Yes,
and
sir.
we'll be, in touch, all right? Everybody out, please, again, share this and like the page, get notifications when we go live, and let people know. The more, the friendly. This is all free for right now. People should be charging for this. People do charge for this right now,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, geez, even your tip videos, G-Man, the first thing I said is, "Bro, we need to charge for that."
Yeah. Right. All right.
Anyway, we'll
Adios,
talk to you guys
everybody.
later. Bye.